our out oh, our outreach package and just outreach in general as you recruit your new star producers. I just wanted to say real quick up front that our next webinar would fall on Labor Day, so we are going to be actually holding it on September the 11th, which would be the following week, September the 11th at 11 a.m., and that one will be a very important one as well. We'll be getting together with CSU, and we will have our technical assistance providers from around the state join us. So we'll be doing some introduction and overview of the technical assistance provider system and how it's all going to work out. So please join us for that one. And today, as I said, we're going to talk about the outreach package and just outreach in general as you recruit your new Star Plus producers. And we'll discuss a little bit of strategies that you can use as you enroll those producers, and then we'll answer any questions you might have. So we're going to go ahead and kick it off here with Kristen Boyson. She's going to take it away and start us out. Kristen?
Thanks, John. And thanks everyone for joining us this morning. I think it'll be a pretty fun conversation we're having, because outreach is what you all are good at and a very important part of the STAR program. So there's, as you all know, there's several different components of enrolling producers, and the first and most important one is just making sure people know about the opportunity to be part of STAR Plus. Many of you have already begun this process. Many of you have producers who you know are interested or even are starting the sign-up process already, and many of you are kind of in the early stages of trying to figure out, how do I reach producers in my community? How do I get the word out to our farmers and ranchers? So to reiterate, Department of Ag really wants to help in all of these different stages and steps of the process. And we know it can be tricky to kind of reach into your communities and find the producers who you don't already work with very closely. So today, the main purpose is to go through our social media toolkit, which you all saw on Friday, hopefully, get some feedback from you, talk about how to use it effectively, and kind of finalize it to send out for use. But we want to reiterate that social media is only one of many kind of strategies to reach out to community members. So we expect you to go above and beyond just these social media posts and curating an online outreach strategy. We really emphasize person-to-person communication, working within your networks and the communities that you work in. We know we're preaching to the choir. Districts and the eligible entities on this call are already good at that. And that's why you've been one of the reasons you were selected for the STAR Plus program. But we really want to help you further your outreach, really get the word out about STAR Plus and the importance of soil quality. I'll hand it over to our communications team in a moment, but as you guys are looking through this these social media toolkit and resources, think about what would be helpful for you beyond these posts. How can we help you reach out to your community members beyond the toolkit and beyond some of the marketing materials we've already sent? Hopefully you all have the link to the STAR Plus producers handout, which is a nice little 2-pager. We hope that you print and share that. And at the end of the call, we'll ask, what else can we do to help you as you get people enrolled? Oh, thanks, Bethany, for dropping that link. All right. So if that sounds good to everyone, I will pass it over to our CDA communications team. And there's 3 of them on the call, so maybe Bethany, Olga, and Sonia, you can introduce yourselves, and then I'll pass it over to you to lead the charge on our toolkit introduction.
Great, thanks, Kristen. Well, I'll start with introducing myself and then give a little context to what it is that I, in particular, am doing with this, and then I'll hand it over to Olga and Sonia to introduce themselves and talk through the toolkit a little bit. But yes, I did drop it in the chat, so rather than share my screen, which can be just a little distracting, we can definitely share it as Sonia and Olga are kind of going through the mechanics of it. But I did want to say hello. I am the Deputy Director of Communications and Outreach. And so This plan and working with the soil health team is something that our team has been wanting to do with all of our different programs, is to offer ourselves as resources. I have a particular soft spot for conservation districts because I spent many years doing education for the San Luis Valley Rio Grande watershed conservation districts. So I definitely know that you guys are the experts in your areas. And so this toolkit is primarily meant to just be a resource for you to use. Our team is CDA wide, so you guys are the experts, and the soil health team are the experts for who you're going to be working with. So we're kind of just resources as this pertains to the toolkit, but then when it comes to questions and like getting down to the nitty gritty, I definitely want to encourage you to utilize your soil health team and your local representatives in that area to kind of figure out what works with this and maybe what you don't want to use. So this is definitely not something that you have to do every single portion of, and we'll get into that a little bit more. But again, this is for you to pick and choose what works best for your conservation district and your target audience that you're trying to get recruited. So the idea behind this and the outreach part is always flexibility, right? So we're not going to be prescriptive with you have to do it this way and this is the only way that we will accept you doing it kind of thing. The toolkit is more to keep us consistent across the many different districts that are having. So this is a really big grant. There's a lot of moving pieces. And so it's just helpful to have a framework that you can then plug into what works best for your district, but also to keep it consistent across branding. So the messaging that we're using, the terms that we're using, so that as producers are talking to each other or other eligible entities and conservation districts are speaking with each other, it's readily apparent that we're all on the same page with how we're approaching this. So we do want to give you flexibility though. So there is some time and some places within that, and especially with the in-person stuff where you're going to be able to really tailor it to what your conservation district needs. So the main idea behind all of this is just to set you up for success with what works best in your area. So we're going to start kind of the whole outreach ball rolling with this. So communications being that first step in the process is actually getting the word out. And getting that information out to people, but then having the opportunity later for them, like Kristen said, with the in-person stuff, for the questions to come in and for that engagement piece to really be the biggest focus for all of you guys. So again, this is just one tool in the toolbox, and we really just want that to feel like yours and you're owning it. So we're going to walk through a little bit of this toolkit that has some best practices and kind of just how do you use hashtags, do all the nitty gritty with that, and then open it up for questions and see how that looks for you guys. But always remembering that we as a CDA comms team are keeping you in the driver's seat, that you are the trusted messenger that is pushing this out. So again, if something's not working for you, you don't have to use it. This is not and if you're not comfortable with social media, we definitely want to help you to feel comfortable with it because it is a pretty big tool now in 2023. And so just kind of getting our toes wet with it if you haven't worked in some of these platforms. So I'm going to hand it over to Olga and Sonia to introduce themselves. But before I do, just a little interactive piece, if you can pop into the chat what social media platform, if any, your conservation district or audiences really connect with, that would be really helpful for us just to know. So if you want to just slide that in there, that'd be great. And again, thank you so much for having us on today. So Olga, I'll throw it over to you.
Thank you, Bethany. Hi, my name is Olga Roback. I am the Communications Director for the Department of Agriculture. I'm really glad to be here on this call with you all today, and just want to echo everything Bethany has said. This is something to help you get the messaging consistent across all the different conservation districts in our state, and hopefully it is helpful to reaching out to your producers. I won't take up too much time. I will pass it over to Sonia, who will go through the toolkit.
Okay, so you should be able to hear me now, right? Okay, perfect. Hi, my name is Sonia Jaquez. I am also really excited about this program taking off and actually everybody that is attending. I am so excited to be talking to you and helping you with this toolkit that we put together, hopefully making things on your side with social media a little bit easier. And that's all that this is intended for, is that it won't take up all of your time to try to figure out how to put the messaging together, or, you know, the images, all of that stuff. We kind of just keep that in mind as we put the toolkit together. So I'm having a hard time with my window. Give me just 2 seconds. Okay, so what we're gonna do is, you'll see in at the very top of the document, this table of contents. Now, if you were to click on any of those, all it does is kind of take you to that spot on this document. But you just scroll down.
Sonia,
And
do you want to share your screen maybe?
oh, sure. That's a good idea. Just 1 second. Ugh. See, even I go through these technical problems. So
Sonia, I'm going to change it so you can share your screen. I think maybe you don't have the power yet.
Oh, yeah.
Just kidding. John gave you the power.
I'm actually having a problem with the screen getting stuck and I can't move it. So,
John, maybe you can share your screen.
I'm happy to do that. I can move, I can toggle around. Let me see if I can get mine up.
Okay, I can't seem to get the screen to actually respond. But I can go up and down on my. This is terrible. Okay. So if you can get onto that screen, are we on the screen right now, Bethany?
I should be sharing it.
Okay. So we're up at the top, and how to use this toolkit. Basically, every time that you come in here, it can be a little bit overwhelming. And so these 3 points here will kind of orient you to what you're actually looking to do, right? So the assets, this header here tells you, and each of these titles here, the Toolkit Google folder, the star logo, you click on that and it'll take you directly to those folders that contain your assets. And by assets, we just mean the image, and in high resolution and in the varying dimensions. So basically, your Instagram will be a square post. Your Facebook will be a little bit of a more of a wider post, right? So that it fills the entire space. And if you click onto your Facebook, because it looks like everybody is pretty much in agreement that Facebook is their go-to. So if you click, let's look in the Facebook folder, and you'll see your images in there. And so we basically created a few different images so that if you go to post the first time and then you want to post again, you have more images to choose from. And, you know, maybe one of these images doesn't really resonate with you. And so you can actually choose from one of the images that you'd like to use. It's just a matter of preference. It really is. And so don't get too hung up on which image you're supposed to use. It's not at all about what is right or wrong. It's really just a matter of preference here. And so you'll see that if you come back onto the actual document, which now I can't get back to, you'll see that you have the ability to choose from the different posts. So let's go down to our Facebook posts so I can get you familiar with that one in particular. So on our Facebook posts, we have examples here. Not examples, I mean options here. So what we have here is post number 1, if you've been looking for a way to try new cropping methods but are worried about the financial risk. So basically what you would do is go in and copy paste that into your Facebook post and attach the image that you choose. What you would do with the image is actually download it and then upload it onto Facebook. I mean, I know that this all sounds really mundane, and I know people are more familiar with their Facebook posting, but some of us can, you know, get a little bit overwhelmed with the process. And so what we've done here is create the images for you. We've created the post, the copy, and so all you have to do is put it in. Let's see, we've got at least 2 examples, 3 examples for these posts, and I also wanted to encourage people to use their Spanish posts to reach out to Spanish speaking communities a little bit. So if you've got a few people that you can reach out to in the Spanish speaking communities, I want you to feel comfortable about using the Spanish posts that we've created. And we also created Spanish images for all of the different platforms. And Instagram, let's go back up to Instagram. I really want to talk about that because I think people that aren't familiar with Instagram can get a little bit intimidated by the use of the hashtags, and I want to just kind of give you an idea of what the hashtags do. For those of us that don't really know, hashtags are like creating an album. And so every hashtag is its own album. And so just imagine that if you use this hashtag and everybody else that uses this hashtag, that hashtag contains the images and the posts of everybody that has used that hashtag. And so it can be a really powerful tool, because then what people do on the other end of it is go in to run a search for these hashtags. So if I want to learn about soil health and I don't know anything about Star Plus, I would go into Instagram and I would do a search on the hashtag soil health. And that's where we would hope that our posts would come up. And it can be a really powerful tool to use in spreading the word for people, especially that are already interested in looking for that information. And so I really want to encourage people to use those when they can. Facebook is starting to use hashtags a little bit more, but I would use those sparingly on Facebook, if at all. What else can I tell you? Do we have any questions at this time?
Real quick, Sonia, I do want to jump in and just make a point about the images folder. So we have put them in the toolkit so you can just see what they look like and which ones go with which. But we really want you to download them from this folder. So where it says high resolution images, if you're going to use those, download them from this folder. Don't pull them out of the Google Doc. They won't be as high of a resolution. They could look not as beautiful as they could. So.
That's it, as they have the potential of looking. So yeah, that's a really good point. Thank you.
And then I'll also just add, as I'm scrolling up through the here, and you guys can see we've highlighted some of the areas, but wherever we have these little brackets is an opportunity for you to put in. So when you copy and paste, make sure that you put in your conservation district website or contact information so that it doesn't just say insert contact, on the actual post. So just a little double check with that, but that's again where you're going to put that specific information to drive people to you.
Right. Does anybody have any questions about the toolkit in general? And we also included email copy for you in case you have like a campaign that where you would create an email and kind of blast it out to everybody. And hoping that, it just helps to get the messaging out and alleviates you from having to put the content together. Bethany, can you see if there are any questions?
So far, it's there's a bunch of comments about how folks are planning to advertise. It looks like Facebook is very common.
Yeah, it is still the #1, it seems like.
And we have a few folks putting Instagram, newsletter, local newspapers and local radio stations.
So I will say you can use these images as well in your newsletters if you download again from any of the high res ones. So there's some really helpful banners that are the long skinny ones if you want to use something like that for a header. So these are pretty versatile images for you to use. So if that's the way that you want to get your message across, or if you want to put an ad or something like that in a local paper, you can use these for that as well.
You have a message here. We had partnered with our NRCS and they are talking to producers that they work with in our area and feel it will be a good fit to see if there is interest. Well, awesome. Is there any more questions about the digital package specifically before we?
We partnered with our NRCS and they are talking to producers they already work with that they feel will be a good fit to see if there's interest. Great. This is great. That's awesome. I'm glad to see everybody's already kind of excited about it. And
all right. Well, thank you, Olga, Bethany, and Sonia very much. And if you don't mind sticking around, we're just going to continue here for a little bit and ask if folks want to have any way that we could help to support them in their outreach. Once again, just make sure we're covering any questions you might have with the outreach package and outreach in general. Are there any type of additional materials that would be helpful to you that we could help to create that would help with the process of enrolling these producers and reaching out to them? We have a comment. The outreach package is awesome. I'm so grateful you did this work for us. Do I understand correctly that the 66-acre average is now statewide and not per district? I know this isn't about the package, but it does affect outreach. We are encouraging folks to get as many acres as they can enrolled per district, but if you do not meet the 66-acre average per producer, then it's not the end of the world. But please feel free to reach out to me also to discuss that a little bit further if you'd like. But no, it's not a requirement to have the 66-acre average per district. And then since we don't have a huge amount of questions coming up, I know there's several districts represented here that have went through this before. I like Moscow Hooper. I know Burlington has went through this, Delta, and several of the, also the Dolores Water Conservancy District. Greg is here. So I'm curious, if any of you guys have anything to say, to add, to maybe give us ideas on how you did your initial outreach for 2022. That would be really great if you want to jump in with any words of advice.
Hi, Greg, it's Bill. It basically was word of mouth. That's why I'm interested to see comments like partnering with NRCS or even FSA office, because they're talking to our potential clients every day. So the problem with word of mouth is you get a limited number of people and they're all tend to be kind of in the same social group, so we're not as diverse as we want to be, and so that's the shortcoming of it.
It's a good point, Bill. Thank you. Any further comments from anyone that's participated before that might have some ideas? I'm curious if it was word of mouth. Nancy, was it word of mouth for your group there when you did your 2022 signups?
It was mostly NRCS and word of mouth, but NRCS helped us find our partners.
Hey, John. Penny from Chavano has said here in the comments that they were also word of mouth and that they're asking current Star Plus producers to reach out to other producers that might be interested in enrolling.
I think that's a great idea.
Thanks,
That's
Ben.
really helpful, Penny. Reach out to other producers, have the producers that are already going through reach out. Looks like Susie from Delta says they're going to advertise through newspaper, radio, and direct contacts. And Jenny in Burlington said Burlington has put an ad in the local paper and newsletter along with NRCS staff outreach. So it sounds like a lot of help from the NRCS. Great. Does anyone have any other thoughts on, we did word of mouth for 2022 for this sign up. We've had referrals from current STAR participants and we're advertising via social media, email, etc. Oh, that's a great suggestion from Bethany. Maybe meetings or community events where folks could send out flyers. If anyone has any idea for things like that. Again, is there any other additional materials that we could help to generate that would help with this outreach process? And feel free to let us know. Oh, there's a comment. We advertised at our booth at the county fair. That's very helpful. And Andrea there in Mesa County says she's thinking of showing up at farmers markets. We could definitely help you with flyers. We have some flyers that we could, I believe we have sent out or can definitely get out. We have some flyers we're working on. Great, there's a lot of good ideas, everybody. Any other general questions about STAR Plus here before we move on? And like I said, I just want to, oh, there we go. Here's a link to a flyer that's on our website that you can go to there. That's in the chat box. Just wanted to remind everybody again of that. Our next webinar would fall on Labor Day. So we're going to move that one to September 11th. It will be at 11 a.m. We'll send out invites to everybody, and that will be our technical assistance provider overview with our CSU partners. So just wanted to make a quick reminder of that. And any other questions? Awesome. Well, I look forward. Oh, is September 11th a state holiday?
I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
I don't think so either.
That's why we moved it from the 4th, which is a state holiday, which is Labor Day. But thanks for checking, Bill. All right. Go ahead, Greg.
Hey, John,
Yeah.
sorry to interrupt. I was just going to ask if either Raquel or Nikki or both could stay on. I have a administrative question. I was just going to stay on the line. You guys can stay too, but if one of those two could get on with me, that would be great.
Yeah, I can.
Thank you,
Awesome.
Raquel.
Great. All right. Well, I want to thank Sonia again and Bethany and Olga. Thank you for coming today, and thank you for putting together that awesome social media outreach package. And good luck, everybody, as you're getting out there and getting a hold of all those producers. And feel free to reach out to the CDA Soil email with any questions, and we'll get back to you if you have outreach specific questions or just questions in general.